President Trump is hosting the first Board of Peace meeting today with dozens of countries attending. Joining us to discuss this is Bryan Leib, foreign policy analyst and CEO of Henry Public Relations. So Bryan, always great to have you on the show. I just want to start off by asking you, how much influence does the Board of Peace have? Because President Trump today says it's extremely consequential in terms of power.
Don, hi, good afternoon to you. I think today's Board of Peace kickoff was really big. You had the leaders of scores of countries that were there and billions of dollars that were committed to the reconstruction that's going to need to happen in Gaza. So I think it was a really, really powerful moment for the president and a good reminder to the world that American leadership is back on the world stage.
So, Bryan, making headlines, one point in the meeting is that the United States, President Trump announced, contributing $10 billion to this Board of Peace. Your comments on that?
I mean, I think it's just a start. I think there's going to be a lot more money that's going to be pouring in, and I think a lot more is going to be needed. The reconstruction in Gaza is probably going to take hundreds of billions, if not more. So I think it's just the start of money that's going to start rolling in, and I think a lot of the world leaders that were there that you see on the screen right now, the Middle East was very well represented today. In fact, I think almost every single Middle Eastern country was there except Iran. So I think everyone's very committed and dedicated to seeing the rebuilding start to happen in Gaza. But we have to also be honest, Don. Hamas has not laid down their arms. Hamas is not keeping up with their end of the bargain. They're not disarming, they're not disbanding, and they're continuing to operate inside of Gaza. So until Hamas is removed, I don't know if they're going to be able to start rebuilding anything in Gaza.
You're right about that, Bryan. Hamas has not disarmed. Can I just ask you on this point specifically, what is your optimism level that the Board of Peace can make sure that Hamas disarms?
I don't know if the Board of Peace as a whole is going to make sure that Hamas disarms, but it's going to be up to Israel to make sure that Hamas disarms. And of course, Israel seems to have the backing of President Trump and of a lot of other countries to make sure that happens. So, we'll see how this happens and unfolds, here, Don, over the next couple of weeks. But that really is the biggest impediment to anything moving forward right now. It's great that President Trump is able to convene this fantastic kickoff of the Board of Peace, and world leaders from all aspects or all parts of the globe were there to be part of this. But Hamas needs to disarm. Hamas needs to be shown the door. And if they're not going to do that, then I don't know if we're going to be able to move forward, like I said, with the rebuilding. So time will tell.
Right. We'll see how this unfolds in the coming weeks. And you're right, this is a major sticking point. So, Bryan, I brought a clip here with me of Secretary of State Marco Rubio talking about what the purpose of the Board of Peace is. Let's just quickly take a look at this clip.
There is no plan B for Gaza. Plan B is going back to war. No one here wants that. Plan A, the only path forward, is one that rebuilds Gaza in a way of enduring and sustainable peace, where everyone can live there side by side with one another and never worry again about returning to conflict, to war, to human suffering, and to destruction.
So Vice President J.D. Vance also saying that the point of the Board of Peace is to making peace actually stick. So maybe you can just talk to us about some of the tools in its toolbox here that it has to maintain peace.
Well, I mean, the fact that there's so many countries from around the world that are united with the United States and with Israel in ensuring that there is lasting peace, I think is really the most powerful thing, because that's really what led to Hamas finally releasing all the alive and dead hostages was not so much the Israeli military campaign, but it was the world pressure, and especially the pressure coming from the United States and from Donald Trump. So I think, all of these countries working together in lockstep with the United States and Israel, we're going to get to a point where, Hamas is going to have to, make a move. And if they don't make a move, then perhaps Israel's going to have to go back into Gaza and really disarm them the hard way. And I think it's something Israel's capable of doing. I'm not sure if the United States and the other countries at the Board of Peace are going to be part of that. But certainly, if Hamas needs to be destroyed and dismantled and disarmed, I think Israel's capable of doing that, and I think they'll have the backing of everyone that was at the Board of Peace today.
Yeah, and President Trump warning as well of consequences if Hamas does not disarm. So another point here I would like you to react to is that President Trump said today during this Board of Peace meeting, he's saying that this board is going to, I'm reading a quote here, going to almost be looking over the United Nations and making sure it runs properly. In your view, what does this mean?
You know, I love that President Trump had this Board of Peace. It was a mini UN pretty much in Washington is what happened earlier today. And at the same time, you know, Don, he made a point to say nice things about the UN Secretary General, and he said nice things about the UN. It's classical Trump, you know, playing kind of both sides, you know, from a diplomatic perspective, which is good. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think what we saw happen and unfold today was certainly could be another version of the United Nations, and one that hasn't been, you know, corrupted by a lot of bad actors and a lot of corruption and a lot of fraud and waste and abuse. So, you know, we'll see if the Board of Peace, you know, turns into some kind of a, you know, governing body of some sorts or oversight authority. You know, time will tell on that. But I really think it was pretty magical for the United States to convene, you know, all of these world leaders from all parts of the world to come here today to Washington to pledge that they want to see peace happening in the Middle East. So I think it was pretty powerful.
Okay, Brian, just quickly, one last thing here. It stood out to me that President Trump said today that Russia and China could be part of this in some form. He didn't really elaborate on that. He said it doesn't work if you only have one ideology. You have to have all sides. Just your final thoughts on this.
Well, I think Russia and China are going to have to decide what side they're on. I mean, we see what's unfolding right now between the United States and Iran, and you have Russia and China that are directly supplying Iran with military supplies. Russia is doing naval war games with the Iranians. I think the Chinese are doing similar kind of war games right now, and they're trying to signal that they're going to stand by the Iranians if the United States decides to move forward, which I really think would be catastrophic for the Russians and for the Chinese. I don't think ultimately they're going to do that because I don't think they want to go to war with the United States. But yeah, I mean, I think both of those countries, the Russians and the Chinese, they have to decide, you know, where do they want to sit? Do they want to sit, you know, at a table of two or three leaders with the Iranians and with North Korean Kim Jong-un, or do they want to sit at the big boys table on the screen that you see right now with world leaders from over 30 countries represented? So they're going to have to make a decision in terms of where they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, this phrase has been used often, but China and Russia really needs to ask themselves if they're on the right side of history. Brian, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Have a good day.